Our top story, the fuel control switches of the Air India Flight 171 that crashed in Ahmedabad were cut off moments before impact. A preliminary report into the crash reveals that both engines ceased functioning seconds after takeoff as fueling mechanism switched from run to cut off sequentially. Now, this report by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau reveals cockpit voice recordings that show one of the pilots asking the other why he cut off the fuel. The other pilot responds, "I did not." In its 15-page report, it provides the first official account of the final moments of India's worst aviation accident in decades. The Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner was headed from Ahmedabad to London when it crashed, killing all but one of the 242 people on board as well as 19 people on the ground. Now let's get into the specifics. The report said that once the aircraft achieved the top of 180 knots, both engines' fuel switches transitioned from run to cut off within 1 second. The pilot seemed to have attempted to restore fuel flow as well, with fuel switches moving back to run within seconds. Both engines began relight sequences, with engine 1 showing signs of recovery, but insufficient time and altitude prevented successful restart and the aircraft crashed. Then comes the RAM Air Turbine, an emergency backup power source which was deployed. It deployed a power loss. The other key findings include that the flap setting was correct, the landing gear was down, there were no reports of bird activity or weather concerns. Also, the aircraft weight was within normal limits. It also said that pilots were experienced enough, medically fit and well rested. Importantly, the report suggests no recommended actions to this B7878 and or the GE Gen X 1B engine operators and manufacturers at this stage, suggesting investigations have not identified systemic issues that would affect the global fleet of over 1,100 Dreamliners in service. The plane was carrying 230 passengers, 169 Indians, 53 British, 7 Portuguese and a Canadian, along with 12 crew members. Dozens of people on ground were injured. One passenger miraculously survived, a British citizen who was seen walking out of the wreckage of the crash and who was since been discharged from hospital as well. For more on this, we're now being joined live by Dr. Vandana Singh from New Delhi. She's the chairperson of the Aviation Cargo Federation. Thank you so much for joining us on World DNA. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you as well. It's an honor. Thank you.
Dr. Vandana, of course, let's just get into the specifics of this because I'm sure a lot of our viewers would like to understand what actually transpired. From what we're hearing, the control switches of the Air India flight were cut off moments before. Now, if you could just explain to our viewers how that works, what the procedure is and what that implies.
First and foremost, it's exactly 1 month since the crash took place. And as I had mentioned on various channels and as well as yesterday, that the preliminary report is out on time as was expected. So this definitely, the families need a sort of a closure. Everybody needs to know what happened, and I'm glad that there is some information that's coming out. We were just up to the fuel switches yesterday, but I've always maintained that a faulty FedEx command, a miscommand from the full authority digital engine control system, operating system of the aircraft can lead to something like this. And it seems more or less now that when we go deeper into the analysis, into the investigation of exactly, what went deep into this, why it took place, then it's very clear that it is a corrupt data, an electrical or a software malfunction of the FedEx that led to this miscommand, and that both the, the fuel supply was cut off from the engines. Also, it is very clear that, the pilots were totally focused on, taking the aircraft to a certain height, at least 1,500 to 2,000 feet. Before anything else they would look into, but the idea was to take the equipment to a certain height. And it also shows that the pilots are clarifying with each other, and that pilot 2 is clearly saying that I have not cut off anything, which then takes you back. If you go into the sequence of events, then you will see that it probably is FedEx. Here, it's a miscommand, and this can come that both the fuel supply will get switched off, and this can happen due to an electrical or a software glitch. Of course, the investigation has to go deeper, and more data is going to come out. But as we look at it right now, definitely I don't see this as a pilot error. I always maintained it, and I'm happy that the pilots' families can absolve. They don't go into a sort of a complex or a guilt over here that something went wrong due to their own sons or brothers or husbands or whoever they were. But definitely this was a miscommand from the FedEx. I've always maintained it. Electrical, software, malfunction, glitch that has happened. So yes, while we say that the 787 is a very robust fleet, this is the first accident, a national tragedy and a global tragedy, as we know, where more than 260 lives have been lost. But at the same time, these things need to be continuously looked into. And I think as we go deeper into the investigation, that something will come out from this FedEx miscommand, or the throttle miscommand that has happened, which has cut off the fuel supply to the engines. Over to you.
Dr. Vanna, thank you so much for clarifying that for our viewers and for us all, of course. Now, I wanted to understand, of course, these are just preliminary reports, as you mentioned as well. What do you say are the next steps?
Next steps, as I mentioned, is to go into the complete sequence as to how this whole thing unfolded. They will definitely have to look at the FedEx. They will definitely have to see if there was a miscommand. They'll definitely have to see were there any faulty sensors. They'll have to definitely look into any electrical, any software glitch that was happening, which could lead to all of this. So right now, again, as I said, it's at a preliminary stage that this has come out. But once they start going deeper into the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, that more and more information is going to surface out. And then you join the dots together and come up with the full sequence of events as it happened. And I'm sure the investigating authorities and the Accident Control Bureau, as well as the support investigating staff, are competent enough to really put together the sequence of events as it happened. But as I maintained right from day one, that I see this as a FedEx mandated miscommand due to an electrical software glitch that cut off both the engines. And now we can see that the pilots are clearly telling each other, where one pilot captain is asking and the other is saying, no, I have not cut this off. So that clearly shows that there is a deeper sense into it to go into the FedEx system, operating system itself. And I think this will come out as we go deeper into the investigation. Over to you, dear.
Right. Hopefully there is more that we can understand from further investigations and there is better clarity that is presented to us. But for now, thank you so much, Dr. Vanna, for joining us and clarifying this for us as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on this.